Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to today's video. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. If not, just let me know. If you can hear me, just let's continue the analysis. So welcome to today's analysis. I'll take you through a few pairs that I've been watching. I believe Kian took you guys through on Monday, but I'll take care of today and see what we have in the markets. Apart from that, fundamentally nothing much. I think we just had some speeches from the Feds. I think the Feds are speaking later on today. We had New Zealand cash rate today morning. Apart from that, nothing major on the currency side. Maybe people who trade stocks, there's much on that side, but on the currency side, nothing much. Apart from that, yesterday we saw some wild swings in the market. We saw gold drop all the way to 1780 level. It's 85 around there. We saw other pairs like Aussie dollar continuing the drop, not that much. USD continued to rally. The dollar itself yesterday really was also pushing much higher before it caught some slowdown in momentum and correcting quite a bit. And the US 30, we've seen it it really fell, then got a certain pin bar at a certain support level and sort of moved further up. So those are the main pairs that I normally watch. That's what I'll take you through. Then maybe do a rough overview of the other pairs, but I don't trade them as much, so I don't have much insight in them. But I'll take you through the main ones that I normally trade, then we see how it goes from there. So if I can share my screen. So anyway, looking at the dollar, markets changed. Look, so what I've been observing on the dollar, just looking at what has happened. Ever since interest rates were lowered, we can see market has gone lower lows, lower highs. Ever since market started getting signals that inflations have gone really high, tapering is about to start, and maybe some interest rates, the .com will be pushed a bit earlier, meaning they'll start raising interest rates instead of 2023, it will be in 2022, more or less around June, July, around there. So that was factored into the markets, and you normally know, as a rule of thumb, interest rates are a good sign of a currency being valuable, because people want to hold on it so that they can get good interest on it, as compared to other markets that don't have much interest on it. So anyway, so you can see what came down here, sort of got like a double bottom, more or less correction. So market was going lower lows, lower highs, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. So this lower high, we had quite a deep correction, and like these other ones, you can see this one, we just had a slight correction. So I think that's something I'm also paying attention to, looking at what type of correction do we have. We had this deep one, market came, there's no much momentum to push market to new lower lows. And what did we get from that? Market sort of turned. Okay, that's on the daily chart. So ever since, now market has changed to uptrend. Okay, I normally look at the daily chart to know which trend we are in. I don't go to as much as the monthly or weekly, because that would be too long term, and I'm not that long term. But on the daily, you see high, low. Some people, even the daily is too high for them, but for me it's quite fine. So high, low, and market has been moving to high after getting this very good third trend line bounce. Market has been moving quite high, okay, breaking significant levels. So you see I have a resistance level here which was strongly broken. We had another one over here which was a support before. You can see it was a support, market went high, we broke it. So around this level, I was really short dollar. Okay, if I take my flag quite well, it was a good short. I don't regret it, because if you look, this is my flag formation, so you can see how we had a good confluence. So around that level, you can see that shooting star which was in line with this level. Okay, so you want to be looking for such level. So once market got to that level, I remember I started taking short positions on the dollar, meaning I was going long on Aussie dollar. I didn't go short on USD. I only went short on Aussie dollar, so I was expecting that dollar weakness. I was going long on Aussie dollar, expecting some dollar weakness. But what happened instead, markets proved to continue further up, confirming the bias that the trend is your friend until the trend breaks. And normally when we're in a bullish territory, in a bullish territory, what normally happens is that the bear factors are often ignored. That's a rule of thumb, okay? But it's really hard to get that into, because sometimes, look, you can get a shooting star here and market can drop, like what we got over here. Market was moving high, we got such a shooting star at a resistance level, market shot lower. we can see over here now, coming here, you can see we got a shooting star, market fell for about 3 days, got a bullish correction, a bullish move to the higher side, got shooting star correction for about 2 days, market shot up. Okay, so normally in a trending market, the opposite biases are normally or often ignored. That's why it's very hard. That's why personally I find it very, very hard to trade against the trend. If you trade with the trend, you're at a much better risk level than someone who's really, really aiming to go after. But still, with that said, I still expect some dollar shorts. I still expect some weakness to come. You can see this is on the 4-hour chart. I'm looking at this pattern still being respected more or less, just having a slight breakout up here. Okay, having a slight breakout over here, but still market can go, but we can expect some correction to come through before any major correction comes. And if that one comes through, this market will really, really strongly fall. Okay, so that's what I have on the dollar. Now let's look at things like gold. So as this market continued to rally, we saw gold yesterday dropping off the roof, man. It was crazy yesterday and Monday as well. Okay, yesterday and Monday. So what happened? So I was looking at this. So I was more or less looking at this pattern. Let me get rid of this trend line before we go to it. So I was looking at this. You can see this week. This is on the 4-hour chart. It's more or less what is just happening on the daily. Let's see the daily. Yeah, it's okay. The daily is a bit different, but that's a bit long term. Let's go back to the 4-hour chart. So it's more or less looking at market to come and peak at the top of this sort of like channel formation. Okay, so you can see this this touch, market shot up, got that high, came lower, we shot all the way up. So I was looking to see if market can come at least and get a target around that level, but more or less what happened, market came, formed an ending diagonal triangle. If you're not familiar with that, let me draw it for you really quick. More or less something like this. This is normally a very bearish pattern. Okay, so you can see that's what happened around that level. So it's just patterns. I don't trade this pattern though. I have my own reasons, but the people who trade it, I think this one has worked quite well for them. Okay, so more or less, so you can see that we actually had an ending diagonal around here, but that one was taken out, market shot up, and that's what we got. So you can see this impulse to the downside, a correction, and market yesterday, Monday and yesterday, we've just been having bearish territory. Okay, I was looking at this significant resistance level, which is very significant, the 1830 over here. First touch, second touch, third touch, fourth touch, then we got this breakout. So it's more or less looking to see if market can come back and get some support, but what happened instead, we got that breakout to the downside and market continued with that bearish momentum. So I don't have anything much on this one. I think maybe to look at, see if market can come, maybe get some support here. I think Ken is looking for longs. If you draw another trend line taking this, so you can see we can get some support around this level. Okay, around this level. So you can see that if you take this as the trend line, let me get rid of this video flag. So you can see you can get that instead, first touch, second touch, third touch. But more or less for me, I'm looking at this bigger time frame one. It's more significant to me. Market can continue moving a bit lower, maybe to that level. But if not, if it holds, then that third trend line bounce can hold this market continue to the upside. If not, and market continues to the downside, then I'll be looking, if market comes and continues breaking these levels, then maybe around 1725 can be a good target to the lower side. Okay, but I don't have any trade running on this one. Normally, what am I looking for when I'm about to take a trade? So this is how I normally prepare myself. So normally like this is a very good significant level that we've just broken. Now that we've come below it, you can see significant patterns to the downside. So what I'll normally look for maybe is this impulse. Can we get a correction of this impulse? What pattern will it form? And can I trade that pattern to the downside? Okay, so that's what I'll be watching. If no pattern comes, if no signal comes, then I'll be staying out. Okay, it's just the same as this impulse. You can see this correction, then that impulsive move. Okay, so I'm looking for this impulse. Can we get a correction of that impulse? And can the continuation to the downside continue? Or if not, what correction can we get if market is to move further up? So that's what I'm watching on gold. Dow Jones is one, maybe I have a trade running on this one. So this one I had a trade last week. which market took me out. Okay, I had sort of this trade over here, so I was looking here, so I had such a pattern, so I was looking at this. So if you know how I trade, if you've been watching how I trade, then you know what I'm normally looking for. So market was impulsing, so you can see this impulse correction. We had this impulse, market came with a beautiful correction. I remember I had a short here, so there's a short trade I had to the downside. Immediately targets were taken. I had another bullish pattern, so switching positions. Okay, after this pin bar close, so market sort of moved up a bit. If I zoom it in, better seen on the 1 hour though, but anyway, market moved up a bit, then quickly dropped lower to this level. I had my stops taken out, but then this week I got a different bias. Okay, same bias, still looking for longs, but however I got a much better level. So normally you can't ignore such factors. Just because you're taken out, market can still offer another opportunity to get you back in, and the lower the market moves, the better the risk reward it's giving you. Okay, so I got another entry on Monday around this level. You can see clearly market came slightly for my stop loss at the my stop loss was at the 35,410 level. Market came all the way to 430, so around 20 pips away, and 20 pips for Dow Jones is very small. So that was a small week. Then market started moving up. So that was the main trade I had on Monday, and then yesterday on Tuesday I got another trade here. So here we go. So now this is a different one, sort of more or less different from the main one that I was watching. So watching the same flag pattern, okay, but also if you get rid of the main one, you can see there's another smaller one that formed over here, which gave me that buy bias. So you can see this lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Look at that close. So market came to the downside. You can see this sort of pin bar close and that bullish engulfing. So whenever you see such a signal, you want to be in such a trade. So I took that trade. So I have those two trades running, and yeah. So just to return things as they were. So that's what I'm watching on Dow. So I'm expecting some Dow longs to come in. If you look at the daily chart for yesterday, we had a very good pin bar close. Look at this. So we are retesting significant level. Okay, so that's why I'm quite bullish on this one. Even if I'm wrong on it and market goes to the downside, it was a worthy risk. So you can see this previous high, market came and broke it. We've come and retested it, gotten that pin bar close, and I'm looking for those longs now to go to the upside. So that's what I'm watching on this one. That's the trade I have running. I talked about gold. Aussie dollar market has been moving further lower. So remember on the daily chart, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. There was a time market had come. So if you remember quite well, I'd taken a short position up here. I was looking for market to continue lower lows. I had that trade running until last week Thursday, where it came out, where I'd seen such a formation here. So I had such a pattern. So that's the time I saw the dollar topping at that level, at the channel level that I've just shown you, around this level. So I decided to come out of it. I had, I think, 70% to my target already secured. So I took that profit so that I don't risk. But I was expecting some correction to come in, which market did not. However, we've continued to the lower lows. The only difference that I'm seeing is that there's no much momentum pushing it to the downside, which can mean a lot of some correction might finally come in. So you can see, for example, like up here, look how it started. Impulse correction, strong impulse correction, strong impulse correction, strong impulse correction, strong impulse, and then now we started a game over here. And such games, if you look at the 1 hour chart, can offer very good buy position. Although I'm not participating in that. I'm not participating in the buy position. I'm not looking to go against the trend, really. It's not part of my plan. There's some types of contrarian trading. I don't do contrarian trading. So you can see market has been just moving lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, but momentum is not as much as we had before. Okay, and that's why I sort of came out of my trade, and now I'm looking to see, can we get a correction? If we can, what pattern can we form? And that pattern that has formed, do I trade it? If it ticks all those boxes, then I'll be looking to continue trading it. But for now, I'm just observing patterns as they form. So I don't have anything much on Aussie dollar at the moment. And USD CAD, last but not least, USD CAD is something that I've also been watching. No trade though. I go to the 4 hour. This is the 1 hour. So 4 hour, looking at just patterns galore. You can see this first touch, second touch. I was more or less looking to see if market can get a third touch up there, but you know, sometimes when you're dealing with the wicks, market can, sometimes you need to be very open-minded to alter how you're drawing your trend lines. That's the hard part of trading, because sometimes it can come to the week, sometimes it can come in respect like this instead, like halfway through the week. So this can also be already a third trend line bounce. If you're looking for extreme levels, maybe you can still move further up to get that extreme point. Okay, so if you look at the 1 hour chart, so here's what is guiding me more or less. Okay, so what can guide me more or less to know that this market won't really go up is if this trend line, you can see this first touch, this second touch, third touch, we're sort of getting this fourth touch over here. If it's broken to the downside, then Aussie dollar longs, not Aussie dollar longs, sorry, USD CAD shorts will be active, maybe for market to come back to this trend line over here. Okay, so if I put it like this, so this is what you can look at. So if market breaks that trend line, then you can see market can come back to this level. Okay, so that's what I'll be watching on USD CAD. But currently, no pattern for me where it is, no significant pattern that I normally trade. So those are the main things I'm normally looking at. So I've only seen opportunities on US 30. Apart from that, if I just look at a rough overview of the other currencies, as I normally do, just to before I end, I think Euro USD continued dropping. I was looking at it yesterday, man, I was shocked. This is why I normally say the trend can go to extreme levels where you do not expect it to go. So this is the 4 hour chart. You can see that lower lows, lower high, lower low, lower high, third trend line bounce. Look at how effective it was. Look at how it propelled the market to the downside. And you can see what we've got: lower lows, lower highs, lower lows without even much correction. Even this wasn't a significant correction. Market has even broken lower than this level. Okay, this trend line level, this channel level, I mean, sorry. So it's hot. If you're in this trend line short and you had a really good trade, if you're in a long, I'm sorry. If you've been trying to go against this market, I'm sorry. It's been a painful ride, and it's part of the game. But anyway, so because I was expecting after this pin bar, and market started getting this momentum, I was really expecting market to go up, but really not. And that's why it's really disadvantageous to trade a lot of things. If you trade a lot of things and look for market opportunities everywhere, this was, yes, a good trade, but markets can prove you wrong many a times. With that said, EURJPY, what do I have on this one? Nothing much. I think Ken will share with you guys maybe on Friday. Yeah, maybe something just to look at. Significant support level has been touched. Of course, you can expect correction at this level, especially after such a strong momentum to the downside without much correction. Market went to extreme levels all the way to that support level, and you can get some correction coming through. Apart from that, nothing much, man. Maybe what targets can you have for this correction? Maybe if you look at, maybe if market can come back to this level. Okay, remember, don't take my word for what it is. I'm just doing a rough overview, just looking at market patterns. If you can get some push to the upside, maybe back to the 130.7, maybe can act as a good target, good support, I mean resistance before anything significant. And I see it can be in line with this trend line, okay, around this region over here. So that's EJ, nothing much. What is this? This is also EA, nothing much on EA. Australian dollar, already covered it. NZD USD continuing following the same pattern formation that's forming on the Aussie dollar. You can see that dollar strength been coming in against this one. Okay, so that's what we have on this one. We've seen market continue to drop today. Earlier on today, we had interest rates from the New Zealand bank, so you can see that might have acted as a catalyst to the downside. New Zealand JPY steadily moving to the downside after this strong impulsive move. You can see this correction just coming through. I don't see any significant pattern forming. Well, there's a pattern forming for sure. Just need to pay much more attention to it. It's sort of forming like a channel to the downside. It's quite significant. So yeah, that's that one. Nothing much. Pound has continued its downfall. even after breaking this counter trend line. So if you look at the big picture, it's more or less just like Euro USD. Okay, had this bounce over here, and market is still moving further lower. Okay, we had this trend line to the downside. Okay, this trend line, which offered a good first touch, second touch, third touch. You normally want to trade in line with the direction of the trend. That was a good trend line bounce, and market formed new lower low, sort of got that momentum to the upside, but still market has continued to form a new lower low being formed after breaking this trend line. Okay, maybe it can be a breakout and retest. Okay, in line with this support level. I'll draw for you properly. Can be a good maybe breakout retest, and in line with this double bottom. Okay, so that can be also one, so something pay attention to. Maybe it can form a double bottom, move to the upside. If not, and market continues to the downside, then look for this channel like formation to be your next target around the 1.3250 level. Okay, so that's on that. What's this GJ, look at that pattern. If you're a third trend line bounce trader, then this is a very good trend line bounce. You can see this impulse correction, then maybe more or less maybe can be a sort of impulse to the downside, maybe. Okay, so that's GJ. GA really struggling over here, also looking for a third trend line bounce. I don't trade this market, but just looking at it, man, this kind of a good trade opportunity. You can see that first touch, second touch, third touch there. Market might move to the lower side, who knows. Okay, so that's what we have on this one. Pound Canadian dollar. I've seen someone asking me if I can analyze pound New Zealand dollar. Allow me not to, because that's too exotic to do it, but just for your sake, man, because I'm here for you, let me see. But remember, I never traded, so I've never even looked at GBP NZD chart. I have never looked at this chart. But what can we look at? What can we see? So this is my first time looking at it. Let's do a quick analysis. Don't take my word for it though. I'll just do a quick analysis. So normally you want to see what's the direction of the trend. Is this a channel formation? Let's see. Perfect. We're seeing such a pattern. So we can see over here we had an impulsive move. Let's see if this was a strong correction. Okay, no, not really. And let's see if down here what pattern is forming. There we go. So it's quite a good flag formation. Maybe can offer a good shot to the downside. Okay, I'm seeing most of the pound pairs except GU, but most of these exotic pound pairs are at a third trend line bounce, more or less. So so whoever's asked, I don't know who's asked, but maybe if this can be a good short position, especially looking at how market is moving, high highs, high lows, high highs, high lows, high low. So that momentum is going more or less slowing down, and if it can offer a good short position, this can be a good risk reward to the downside. Okay, offering about 1:4 with your stops just above the trend line. Okay, this can be a good trade because if market breaks to the upside and you're wrong, this is a very good trade to be wrong at, because there's a lot of confluence. And I'm seeing this is you also want to look at key levels. So looking at this previous level here, you can see this is a previous key level around here. So by that, what I mean, I'm looking at this support, market moving higher. Look, you can see more support moving higher, but it was broken. Market broke it. We can be coming back to that support to move further lower. So for whoever who asked, it's good you asked, it's good we looked at it. This can be a good trade and move to the downside. So watch that. I've not used any indicator, no nothing, just pure chart analysis, and yeah, that's it. So if it works in your favor, well and good. So that's it on that one. And UJ, last but not least, this was one of the best trades to take, I think a few weeks ago. I shared it here on the analysis. Alex Oshira GBPCAD. Okay, I'll look at it just shortly. But man, don't trade too many exotic pairs, man. Exotic pairs. Okay, well, I personally don't do a lot of exotics, but anyway, this was a good trade on this one. Look at that beautiful impulse. Look at that correction that came in, and immediately we had that impulsive move. No significant correction along the way, straight to the target. We actually had a breakout retest of this counter trend line and straight to target. Okay, so we had a good trade on this one, and that was it. Apart from that, nothing much. So that's UJ. So GBPCAD, since you've asked for it, I think I just looked at it. With the way I've just seen this market, I don't see anything much, man. I won't lie to you. It's confusing. I know there's no trend line bounce anywhere around here. I can clearly see that. So I don't see anything much on this one, Alex. I don't have anything much. So, and normally when I don't have anything much, I've trained myself well to leave it alone, okay? Don't force issues. Because markets have a good way of tricking you to enter into a position you're not supposed to enter, man. And we've seen it over and over. So that's it. So yeah, I've seen. So it's Mary who was asking about GBP and the D. I wasn't seeing your name earlier on, so that's a good analysis you've done on that one. You can put some risk on it. Put some risk. If it goes against you, accept the risk. Don't say Caleb told you. So yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. That's more or less. So I don't see any more questions, no more nothing. So I think I'll end it there. I've taken quite a good time to do analysis, about 30 minutes. And yeah, so I'll see you guys more or less on Friday when we do the next analysis as we end the week. And we'll do a review, maybe see how that GBP and the D panned out, and the other pairs that I've shared. Maybe also look how Dow Jones would have performed by then, and we see how we're ending the week. So anyway, so that's it from me, guys. Have a wonderful one, and I'll see you guys on Friday.